Fortnite players in here? Anyone? Scott, it doesn't seem like quite a demographic of a Fortnite player. Usually, but man, that game is incredible. It's like they're taking over the gaming industry. But so today we had a late start today. I want to try to avoid that in the future. If we could all try to get here earlier and be excited to start. We just had one presenter today. Though an awesome one. I've gotten to know Chris pretty well. He's launched Yoshi here in Raleigh. We also have Ryan coming on from Silicon Valley, right, to present here. And it's a pretty successful early beginnings for Yoshi, but I'll let them tell you all the story. But give it up for Ryan and Chris.
Thanks, Eric. You guys hear me okay? Yep. Yes. Awesome, thanks. My name is Ryan. This is Chris. We're really excited to be here. I'm actually from Chapel Hill and working on finishing up my MBA in Carolina. So even though I'm based out of San Francisco, this is home. So I'm really excited to be here and to be back. Thanks for having us. We wanted to use the next 10 minutes or so to introduce you guys to Yoshi. We've got some slides here, a lot of visuals we want to take you through, but more than anything, want to be able to use most of the time for Q&A. We know that some of you might be hearing about Yoshi for the first time. Maybe some of you have heard about us, curious to know more, and then others hopefully have perhaps even tried us and got their first fill up. So we'd love to answer questions across the board. I like to start with this slide, which shows a gas station in the early 1900s. And we like to start with this visual because the way that people have gotten gas really hasn't changed much in the last 100 years. You can see this is a black and white photo, but a lot of the elements of this photo are very similar to when you go down to the gas station today and fill up your vehicle. And so Yoshi was founded in order to change this paradigm, this kind of old way of doing things. And rather than having to go to the gas station, Yoshi is a mobile gas station that comes to you to deliver fuel when you need it. And also, we do more than just fuel. We provide car maintenance services across the spectrum. So car washes, oil changes, tire checks, and more. And you can see here, that's one of our field technicians who's in the field with a Yoshi truck servicing one of our customers. So the beginning of the company, we started 3 years ago, and it was all around this idea that nobody likes to go to the gas station. Typically, you need gas at the worst times. You're late to the office. Maybe you're coming home at the end of a long day. You just want to get home to your family. You just want to have dinner. The last thing you want to do after sitting in traffic is have to go to the gas station. And so when that E flashes up on your dashboard or you get that check engine light that comes on, it's just usually a real pain point. It's something that people just kind of groan and are like, oh gosh, now I have to deal with this. And we find that when it comes to our relationships with our cars, we are very reactive now. We find ourselves being responsive to those lights on the dashboard. And so what we seek to do in helping our customers is be more proactive and to be able to be a scheduled service, be a company that they can rely on to come and take care of them so that they don't have to worry about it. And so we like to say that we know that transportation in the space is going to be changing a lot. You hear about autonomous vehicles that are coming. You hear about the electric vehicles that are going to become more and more prevalent. And we think that if those are kind of wave 3 and wave 2, that the next wave that's going to hit first will be self-servicing vehicles, where cars are connected to the cloud, cars are smart, they're connected with one another, and that as cars have more integrated technologies like Yoshi, you're going to be able to get your car serviced and not have to worry about it. And we feel like this is going to be a part of the innovation and the change that we see in the transportation space over the next few years. Just to hit on a few things that make us unique, we get a lot of questions about how much does a gas cost? So this is bullet number one. We offer the lowest price gas in your zip code. And so it's not a markup, it's not a premium. We offer top quality ExxonMobil gas. Exxon is actually one of our investors from our Series A. And so we offer exclusively ExxonMobil gas. So it's top quality gasoline, and then one of our unique selling points is that we offer the lowest price in your zip code. In addition, like I mentioned, we do more than just gas. So when you add a car wash, when you add an oil change, the way our app is set up is that it brings down your price per gallon, so you can save even more. And then we have a 24/7 customer service team that does everything over text, so you don't have to worry about email, you don't have to worry about a 1-800 number. We do everything over text so that you can handle all your scheduling and all your car care needs very easily over text. What I have here just at the bottom are some press that we've gotten, some national press that we're really proud of across Forbes, Business Insider, Venture Beat, and the Washington Post. And Chris is going to highlight here in a few slides some local press that we've gotten in Raleigh as well. Actually, it's really timely here to transition to this slide, which is some screenshots from our app. We just updated our app and rolled out a new version yesterday. So our product team and our team in San Francisco is really excited about that. What we're going to be offering in the new app is better scheduling features. It's a feedback that we've got a lot from our customers, is they want to be able to have more flexibility when it comes to scheduling. And so we won't walk through all of these different components of the app, but would encourage you guys to download it. We're really excited about the new version. We think that the interface is going to be a lot more user-friendly, and it's in response to a lot of the customer feedback that we've had, especially around scheduling, which is something that we're really looking to improve on and make that much easier for our customers. I'm going to tee this slide up, and then I'm going to hand it over to Chris, who's our lead rep here in Raleigh, to talk about sales and marketing in Raleigh. But what I want to cover here is that we are working as a partner with companies, small, medium, and large size, who are offering Yoshi as an employee benefit. What we're finding is that companies are looking for more and more creative ways, innovative ways to engage their employees, to offer them something that's a little bit different than the standard benefits that they're used to and that they get. And so we're partnering with companies who are offering Yoshi to their employees, and so they cover it or they subsidize it, and then we come out to their office lot, to their parking garage, to their complex, and we take care of their customers while they work. So employees really, really like the fact that they can show up at the office at 9 a.m., they need gas, Yoshi comes, and by the end of the day when they leave the office at 5 o'clock, they're all fueled up and taken care of and ready to go on their way. So I'll hand it over to Chris, who will talk a bit more about what we're doing with companies, and especially here in Raleigh-Durham.
Good morning. Can everyone hear me? I'm Chris. I'm the local Yoshi rep here in Raleigh. Some of the things that we're doing in the marketing front is absolutely looking for local magazines, news resources. We were just featured in WRAL, in the morning news and on the website. And a big thing that we also do is Yoshi Demo Days. We go to local employers, community events, even bars sometimes, and we engage consumers and let people know about Yoshi in the area. Some of the other services that Yoshi offers: fuel delivery, car washes, car details, engine cleaning, oil changes, tire checks, windshield cleaning, windshield wiper fluid, and wiper blades. We see ourselves as the all-in-one solution for all your car needs. And Yoshi just rolled out Birmingham, but we're in about 20 different cities across the country. any major metropolitan that you can think of: Atlanta, Boston, Cleveland, Chicago, Raleigh, Nashville, LA, Minneapolis, Silicon Valley, St. Louis, Tampa. That's it. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, real quick before we get to questions, I wanted to just show a short video and go a little bit after questions. Let's see if this works.
Basically a mobile gas station that connects to the internet. We're serving to our customers premium gas, premium oil. We'll bring the gas to you when your car is parked, wherever it is. We've also integrated with some connected cars so that we're actually getting live data from the car on when it's low on gas and where the GPS is. We've gained a lot from working with ExxonMobil. We've also learned about safety, customer focus, best practices all across the board.
All right. I like to show that video because sometimes short video can do a good job of just conveying the top line points. And ExxonMobil is one of our two major strategic partners that I mentioned, and so we're really excited to be working with them. And we're also working with GM. One of our partners from the fuel side is ExxonMobil, and then we're working with GM. And so you may have noticed that the fuel trucks that we have are GM pickup trucks. All right, so we'll pause there and take questions.
You probably got this question the most. Where'd the name Yoshi come from?
Yeah, good question. So Yoshi in Japanese means good luck, keep moving, and our mantra at Yoshi is keep moving. And so we like to kind of we like to convey that to our customers and for them to also kind of feel that as a part of our service. The other thing too is we have some gamers at the company, so kind of a secondary meaning is there's a lot of Mario Kart being played in the office, and so it kind of has a double entendre in some ways.
Well, I took it a different way when I drove in here and I saw your sign saying today is Yoshi Day. I said, oh, the sushi food truck's here.
We hear that too.
Just a simple question: how much is an oil change or something like that?
Yeah, sure. So happy to talk through pricing. What might actually be easy is if you download the app, we've got kind of a menu of the prices in there. Off the top of my head. Okay, yeah, thank you. So 45 and 75, depending on if it's synthetic or non-synthetic.
Here. I got two questions. Number one is you have to get your keys to you somehow, like if you have a locking gas cap or if you have other stuff that has to be done, you know, open the hood, that sort of thing. And how do you handle that? And number two was, whenever I see a star next to a statement, I always wonder what the star means. Why was there a star next to lowest price in your zip code?
Yeah, sure. Let me take that one first. The reason for the star is because there are a few exclusions to that. So Costco memberships have super low price per gallon, so we can't match that. And there's also some gas stations that are like cash only. Not quite sure what the quality of that gasoline is that they're selling at those stations. We can tell you that ours is better. So what we're matching there is going to be your branded stations. So your Chevrons, your Shells, your BPs, those level stations. So it doesn't apply to some of those membership Costco, Sam's Club, or cash only stations. And then the first part of your question. So yeah, really good question. When you're scheduled for a fill up, you'll get a text that says today is a Yoshi Day, which is kind of why you see the signs out there. And it's a reminder that the fuel truck is going to be coming to fill you up. I actually got a fill up today out in the lot, and I have a flap that just needs to be popped when I park. And so it's just a reminder that if you need to pop your flap to do that. And so that text message reminder at the beginning of the day just serves to help people remember to leave their flap open. And then when our field technician comes, he'll be able to fill up your tank, and then we use photos to be able to show when it's being filled and then when the job is complete.
That doesn't cover service.
Yes, sorry. So when it comes to service, if it's a car wash, if it's a car detail, depending on if it's a car detail and they actually need to get into your car, then what we would do is we would coordinate with you over text to get your keys for doing that. Yeah.
I have two questions as well. What's your revenue model? And then secondly, there was a metric that you went through quickly. Actually didn't say anything about it as far as your environmental impact. And my question is why trees versus given who you are, something more relatable like carbon footprint or reduction of VOCs?
Yeah, sure. So our revenue model is a subscription model. So we have members who are subscribing to Yoshi as a service that starts at $16 per month. Most of our members are getting one fill-up per week, so it comes out to about $4 a week for a fill-up. So that's our revenue model subscription, and then of course you pay for the additional services on top of that. In terms of the environmental, your environmental question is one that we get a lot. You saw we have a calculation when it comes to. Oh, sorry.
So yeah, I'm sorry to question it, but it went so quickly.
Yeah, sorry.
Suspiciously quickly.
All right. Sorry, there was a lot of text on that slide. I'm happy to speak to it. So we have run numbers, and actually, when it comes to thinking about how we simplify the supply chain, there's a reduction in emissions with the way customers are using Yoshi, because when you kind of take from well to wheels and look at the full supply chain and how you have typically large tankers that are coming to gas stations, then the customers are going to those gas stations. We've simplified the supply chain in a way that there's actually a reduction of emissions in that way.
So why not report on emissions or VOCs? You said trees.
Yeah, sure. So it's a conversion that we use to show how much emissions are being reduced or saved by going with Yoshi rather than just going to the gas station. So the equation or the number that was on that slide was you're saving about 3 trees a year from going to Yoshi rather than going to the gas station.
Should we know?
Is it working? Yes.
Yeah.
Good morning. Thank you for being here. I saw the.
You can't move it. You have to hold it in place. Like why?
Okay, it's actually really weird to speak like. Okay. Okay. So good morning. My question. Good morning.
Stop moving.
Okay. My question was when you mentioned earlier the new revolution for the car and you want to be part of it. Did you think about the self-driving car and the electric car as a potential problem for your company's sustainable future? Like the fact that people will use more electric cars, so don't need to fill up the tank, or the fact that the car will actually drive themselves?
Yeah, sure. Good question. So when it comes to electric cars, it's a question that we get a lot. Right now, if you look at the global fleet, about 1% of cars are electric. Elon Musk was on 60 Minutes a few weeks back. He had this really interesting piece. I'm not sure if many of you saw it, but he talked about even if the manufacturing of vehicles went to 100% electric today, 20 years. It would take about 20 years for the fleet to completely be electrified, and that would be if all manufacturing went to electric. So the takeaway from that is that we know that electric vehicles are going to become more and more prevalent, but it's still going to be a ramp up time for them to be a significant piece of the pie. And so we know that there's going to be combustion engine vehicles out there for many years to come. And then the other part, going to your question about ride sharing, is a really good one. We're hearing and reading all the time about Uber and Lyft and Google and ride sharing and autonomous vehicles. One thing that doesn't get a lot of play in the conversation is how are those cars going to be maintained? and who's going to take care of them, who's going to service them, because even as people move away from car ownership, the cars are still going to need fuel to operate. They're still going to need tire checks. They're still going to need basic maintenance. And so that's why we think that even as that model changes, the basic needs of the car when it comes to a servicing perspective are still going to be really, really important, if not more important.
I agree, and I just want to jump on what you just said, but the car won't have to, you won't have to go to the car to service it, which is the main point of your presentation. So how do you want to tackle this problem?
Yeah, so we're working closely with OEMs. So GM is one of them. We're actually going to be working more closely with Toyota too. And so for us, it's part of the question is how do we work more and more closely with those OEMs and those car manufacturers to kind of be a part of that from manufacturing and from when the cars roll off the lot to be integrated as a part of that process.
I got the ball. So anyway, if you have a subscription price, why aren't you offering the lowest price gas? That's one question. I got three.
Okay.
Second one is, do you have a rewards program of any kind, like frequent services or frequent something? And the third one, have you considered doing inspections, car inspections, being state approved or something like that? Because that's the thing I think customers hate the most, going and waiting in line and spending a whole Saturday or Sunday trying to do that. So
yeah, sure. So first part of your question is around our pricing model. So what we found is that consumers are extremely price sensitive. It's probably the #1 question that we get asked when we do presentations or when we pitch Yoshi, which is how much does the gas cost? Because not only are we trying to get people to change their behavior, we're trying to get them comfortable in doing that on a regular basis. And people are just so used to going to the gas station, they're so used to be able to seeing what that price per gallon is. And so a lot of times that's their biggest hesitation. And so we know that we have to be price competitive, especially when it comes to that price per gallon. So that's part of the reason why you see matching the lowest price in the zip code. But for us to have a sustainable business model, the subscription is a key piece of that, because we've got field technicians, we've got capital expenditures associated with delivery and overhead costs with coming to our customers. Sorry, remind me of the other.
Rewards program and inspections.
Sure. Rewards program. So we don't have an official rewards program yet, but the way that our app is set up is that when you add additional services to your fill-up, it brings down your price per gallon. So if you download the app, you can see that today I added a tire check, and I think it brought down my price per gallon like 5 or 10 cents. So it's a way of encouraging our customers to bundle and save. And so right now, that's what we have in place in terms of, it's not a rewards program, but it's a way to get discounts on your purchases. And then the last part was inspections. Yeah, we don't do that yet, but it's something that we see as a longer term possibility as we think about how we can strike up local partnerships. And so if there's a way for us to be able to connect our customers with local inspector or vice versa, we think that that's kind of a natural partnership for us down the road.
But you wouldn't do it. You wouldn't go and inspect a car or whatever.
We would work with somebody who would be certified and would come and do that.
All right, Ricardo, any more questions? You're going to have to buy breakfast for everyone.
I have one.
There's 4 questions.
Yeah, we have a line now. We go to Bill next, and then over here.
Yeah, there's 2 in the middle.
All right. Well, I'll ask questions. But anyway, I wanted to hear about your sales model. I know a little bit about it from talking with Chris, and he's absolutely crushed it. He showed me some of the numbers, but can you explain, just as an educational thing, like how you go about getting these contracts or getting in these businesses? Because I think that's a really cool model of how you're actually acquiring new customers.
Yeah, sure. And Chris has done a tremendous job with this here in Raleigh. One thing what we see is that A lot of people haven't heard of Yoshi. A lot of people don't know that you can get fuel delivery to the office or to your home. So we face a challenge in terms of awareness and marketing on both of those fronts. And so demo days have been a really, really key way for us to be able to sell and market Yoshi, because when we're able to have a forum like this where we can introduce Yoshi to people in person, help them get set up in the app and then get their fill up on the same day, it really creates a 360-degree experience where they're like, oh wow, I get this. I can see how it can save me time, how it can save me money, and this isn't difficult. But it can be a bit more of a challenge if people are just seeing something online or just reading about it in the news. And so this is where Chris has done a really good job kind of being our boots on the ground here and helping to introduce and onboard Yoshi through these demo days and through really just kind of pounding the pavement and introducing Yoshi to people here in person. I'll say more on that.
Yeah, you asked about the strategy of how to actually get into these businesses. You know, it's really hard to sell to an HR rep, but it's really easy to sell to the end consumer. So my focus has really been on getting 30 people in the organization to get the service, and then, you know, they tell their friends, we're able to do the demo days, and, you know, hopefully eventually get to HR.
Question over here.
Okay, I've got one. Following up on that, though, you might do really well to come to Food Truck Rodeo Fridays in RTP, where you've got people from all over the park here, right, on Fridays. So just saying.
Sounds so.
How many tanks can you fill within 1 hour, right? Fuel truck rodeo. There you go. Fuel and truck rodeo. You're welcome. Are these you've expanded quite rapidly across the country? So is this a franchise model, or are these local reps that you're finding? How do you determine where you're going to expand to next? And who's going to be your local rep? And then are you considering franchising or not? Is that part of the model?
Yeah, good question. We're not considering franchising right now.
Yeah.
What it takes for us to open a market is to have operations and sales and marketing, and so we have trucks and we have field technicians who are the operators of those trucks, and then we have sales and marketing reps who are on the ground. As a part of a new city launch, we just launched Birmingham, Alabama last week. One of the key considerations in determining our markets is looking at cities where we can really target commuters. So a key segment of our customer base is commuters, people who are driving to the office and are going to be parked 9 to 5. And we've seen some of our best markets are cities where there's a lot of commuters, but there's not great public transportation. So, oh yeah, yeah, I'll pull that back up in a second. But just to close out that point, some of our more active and most successful markets are Nashville, Tennessee, Raleigh, Durham. And then that's one of the reasons why we chose to launch Birmingham as well, because we see that some of these mid-market cities where there's a lot of commuters, but not necessarily a strong public transit infrastructure, are kind of really, really ripe for technology and a service like this.
Question here.
Hi there. I'm curious, without saying any numbers or anything, how is this business financed at the onset, and are there investment opportunities in the near future? Are you raising any more money? I'd be interested to know that.
Yeah, sure. I'm going to try to get that slide back up at the markets. We raised $13.7 million in a Series A last year, and our two lead investors on that round were ExxonMobil and General Motors. So we're not only are they investors, but they're strategic partners, like I mentioned. So we're really lucky to have them as supporters, because they've done more than just support us financially. They've really been with us at the table as strategic partners with growth. We will be looking to raise a Series B. We don't have a specific timeline for that yet, but there will be more money that we'll be raising down the road.
Right here in the middle, 2 questions.
And then we'll pop over to the other side. No, mine is on. You're good? Okay. All right.
All right, great. Excellent idea, excellent business. Real quick question, simple one and a little more complicated one. The simple one is, do you bring different types of fuel, like premium, gasoline? Do you have all the different grades? If someone has a BMW or something, whatever.
We offer regular and premium. We don't do diesel, but we do regular and premium.
Second question is, as you have this network begins to grow quickly, are you able to scale up quickly to service, like hire more trucks, hire more people, and do you have a plan for that?
Yeah, and that's one of the great things about our model is that we're able to scale really quickly. So we can get more trucks, we can get more field technicians on the ground as quickly as we need to ramp up with demand, because unlike a retail gas station, there's no real estate or overhead associated with real estate or brick and mortar. So we're able to surge with demand as our customer base grows in the city.
How about business partnership strategy with Dave Ramsey? I think he's located in Nashville.
Oh, really? We haven't partnered with Dave Ramsey, but that's a great idea. Thanks.
Here, there's a question over there. The gentleman in the middle.
Question around just the regulatory issues, if any, with delivering gas to people. Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, sure. So our trucks are GM pickup trucks. Actually, Chris, can you go back to that? There's one.
You scroll up and down. That's the PDF.
Our trucks can have a capacity of about 300 to 330 gallons. So you can see here that it's a pickup truck that you would see driving around on the highways and neighborhoods here in RTP. So it's not a fuel tanker. So it's not a huge fuel vessel. And those large tankers are subject to specific what are called tank wagon regulations. But we've worked with GM and ExxonMobil as partners to specially design, and our trucks are part of our innovation to be able to service our customers and be able to get into various locations to do that.
2 questions. First, what is I guess it varies market to market, but what is the average savings per gallon, the fuel versus what is in the area? And then the second question is, can you use the same membership for multiple vehicles, especially multiple vehicles within a family?
Yeah. So the first part of that, it really varies. I don't know what the exact number would be, and that's just because fuel prices change daily, and they also change zip code to zip code. But what we say, can you flip back to that slide that's got the numbers on it? Yeah, right here. So on average, when it comes to savings, it's about $240 on gas per year for our customers. Your other question was about
multiple vehicles.
Multiple vehicles, yeah, thank you. So you can add, for a household, you can add 1 or 2 vehicles to your subscription. So if you're a family and you've got multiple vehicles, that can all fall under one subscription. We do monitor that, and if it starts to get kind of carried away and we see families who have like fleets, they're filling up the whole neighborhood on their account, then we politely reach out and we see what's going on there. But there's not a
lot of one credit card.
Yeah, exactly. But there's not additional charges for a family that has multiple vehicles.
Okay, thank you very much. Great job, guys. Thanks for coming out.
We do have one thing for everyone here. If you download the app today and you want to try it out, we actually have a $50 code for everyone to try the app for your first fill up or car wash.
50.
50. So when you download the app, 1MC is the promo code for 1 million cups, and again, that's $50 to try any of the services.
Thank you very much. That's very nice for everyone here.
And we can get you guys set up with that if you want to come by afterwards, and we can help you get all of that coordinated if you need some help or would like to do it right away.
Okay, I need to thank our sponsors. We haven't done that yet, so.